Every Hydro character in Genshin Impact explained. Sigewinne. She is a Melusine, in the Fortress of Meropede's head nurse. Due to her species, she has naturally increased hearing and eyesight, allowing her to discern traits that other people might miss. Her interpretation of food is likewise unique, despite her insistence that it is healthy. As far as Melusines are concerned, human aging, being sick, and death are as natural as the sunrise. This is the first thing all of them understood about humans, for it is the biggest difference between them. When they first explored Fontaine, they were initially treated as monsters by the locals, causing them to leave, but Sigewinne's curiosity made her stay. She then heard about the science of medicine, and having a desire to master it, believing that it might help bridge the gap between Melusines and humans. She managed to befriend a young girl, and learned medical skills from a traveling doctor, who was willing to teach her. Her determination to help others culminated when her human friend became sick, but her parents forbid her to help, due to her Melusine heritage. Not wanting to leave her friend to die, she willingly gave up being a Melusine, to become more of a human, by using a special potion, and being tricked by her master. After being sentenced to the fortress, for breaking an ancient law, she chose to remain behind, even after her sentence was lifted, to help its inhabitants. Although she understands that there are illnesses that cannot be cured, she does her best to take care of her patients nonetheless. She got her vision when she encountered Old Stone, an inmate in the fortress, who had a condition that she couldn't treat. But still, she cured whatever disease she could, resulting in prolonging his life a little longer, until the inmate lasted long enough to see his family one last time. After his funeral, her eyes came upon something shiny, a Hydro vision. It was as if the gods themselves had seen all of her actions, and sent her a gift of their own. Furina. Confident and imprudent, she lives for the thrill of the courtroom, often speaking in a manner filled with boldness and drama. She is impatient and has a childlike temper, occasionally making judgments that she doesn't mean, which Neuvillette frequently has to control. While she enjoys being in the spotlight, she only does so when it is focused on her positively, breaking down in complete shambles should something go out of plan, and will try to save face at the first possible opportunity. It is later revealed that she is not the true Hydro Archon. Fausalor, the true Hydro Archon, had separated her divinity from her body and spirit. She then created Furina, a human version of her, as a way to deceive the heavenly principles, in order to prevent the prophecy from becoming a permanent reality. She was tasked with maintaining the guise of an Archon, and was put under a curse, so that she could not die, nor pursue her own happiness, so long as the Archon lived. As a new human, Furina had difficulty taking the role, but eventually mastered it. Aware of the prophecy that would doom Fontaine, she assumed the role of the Hydro Archon for 500 years. While she was successful in this task, it wore her down mentally, and she suffered from severe paranoia and self-esteem issues. Upon being freed from her role as an acting Archon, she had returned to her normal self, but without the burdens associated with it. While she is still dramatic at times, she now displays a softer, humbler, and insecure side of herself. At first, she struggled to come to terms with her role being over, believing that her newfound freedom meant that she was no longer needed, and had trouble reaching out to the people closest to her, like the Chief Justice. She also planned to retire from the stage, despite her passion for acting, finding it difficult to take on different identities. After being comforted by the Traveler and Neuvillette, as well as getting invited to a party, she realizes that her journey of self-discovery means that she no longer has to live her life alone. Eventually, she is able to regain the courage to move forward, and go back on stage for the first time since her retirement, and learns to accept her identity, not as the Hydro Archon, but simply as Furina. By a twist of fate, the musical The Little Oceanid, which nearly died before it could live, got the chance to be performed, and proved a resounding success at the Opera House. Furina, standing in for the real actress, played the heroine, who sacrificed herself to guide the freshwater. According to the script, she wasn't supposed to take the vision that would appear, but instead, allow it to fall into the ocean depths. But during the actual performance, a real Hydro vision appeared, and it was for her. Visions are usually objects that appear in response to humankind's ambitions, but this one seemed more like a reward for everything she had done. Neuvillette. He is Fontaine's Chief Justice, taking every court and trial very seriously, handing out verdicts with absolute fairness. In the past, he utilized the
Oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinale
to make the final decision, honoring its request, regardless of his own feelings on the matter. Due to his position and ties to the Hydro Archon, he is popular among the people of Fontaine as a symbol of justice and honor. As a member of the Seven Sovereigns, he is unfamiliar with human customs and feelings, using the court to help him process and understand them. He rarely spends his time out in public, as he does not enjoy unwanted attention, and in the few times he speaks to humans, he appears to be distant, though honest in his words. However, when interacting with Melusines, he is extremely friendly, and seen as the ideal father by them. Likewise, he is very protective of them, considering them the pride of Fontaine, and investigating matters himself, if someone from the species was ever bullied, or threatened. This stems from his failure to protect his friend and subordinate, when she was driven to death due to Fontainian's prejudice, and him being forced to sentence his other friend, for carrying out a revenge elimination. When Neuvillette was first reincarnated, he was left with many questions about himself, leading to him accepting a position as the Chief Justice. His time overseeing trials led him to experience multiple human experiences and emotions, which were secretly prepared by the real Hydro Archon. She hoped that his newfound perception would save the people of Fontaine from a looming prophecy. Upon learning the full extent of the god's deception, he admitted that she was devious, but was saddened by her self-sacrifice in the end. Indeed, having seen humanity positively, he used his fully restored powers to save his people. He opposes the heavenly principles, and by extension the Seven, as they seized the authority of the dragons that once ruled Tevat. Even so, he respects Lesser Lord Kusanali for her duties. He also enjoys water, and is an avid taster, being able to discern the properties of where the water came from, and how it's prepared. Neuvillette does not need a vision to manipulate the elements. He obeys no order from the heavens, but he does acknowledge human will. This is why he left aside fragments of his power, in the form of visions, for those worthy of them. It is also implied, he is the one who gave Furina her vision. Kamisato Ayato. He is the current head of the Kamisato clan, and the Yashiro commissioner. He prefers to keep a low profile, working in the shadows over public appearances. His upbringing and familial responsibilities shaped him into a mature and dedicated leader, overshadowing initial doubts about his capabilities. He rose to stabilize his clan during its darkest times, displaying courage and ingenuity whenever the corrupt officials tried to take him down. The heavy workload, malicious deceptions, and attempts to frame him at every turn, he parried away, even turning them to his own advantage. His commitment to protecting his family and upholding the clan's legacy is unwavering, prompted by a profound sense of duty, instilled by his parents. Those who are familiar with him note that he is incredibly kind, and has inspired loyalty from many people, contrasting with his mischievous reputation among higher authorities, with Miko disliking him as a result. Despite all of his responsibilities, he finds moments to engage with the world, whether through visiting the publishing house, or buying foods from local businesses on the streets. Many years ago, Ayato's gravely ill father summoned him. His father's eyes showed clear concern, as he asked about his progress in training and swordsmanship. Though initially satisfied, his father grew sad, hinting at unspoken worries. Finally, his father expressed pride in him, as the future of their clan. Returning to his room afterward, Ayato found a hydrovision on his desk, a symbol of responsibility that he had long awaited. With his father and mother sick, and the clan vulnerable, he knew it was his time to step up. As the sun rised, he embraced his role as the new heir, determined to do everything for his clan and his family. Mona. She is an astrologist who takes her passion seriously. She combines her astrology skills with hydromancy, the art of deducing fate, by using the reflections of the stars on the water. She can easily tell whether or not a person is lying, and can sense their intentions from a single glance, being capable of seeing their fate. She is also able to accurately deduce a person's characteristics, just from knowing their constellation. She is very knowledgeable in this subject, because of her master, who she adores, fears, and despises at the same time. Mona's only income comes from her contributions to the Steambirds, all things astrological column. Being obsessed with astrology gives her a sense of pride, but this also serves as a double-edged sword. Every paycheck is spent first on her research. Books from Li Wei, a celestial sphere from Sumeru. All of these come with a hefty price, and by the time she regains her senses, there's only enough of her income left for her to scrape by each month. To Mona, her vision, a gift from the gods, doesn't mean a great deal. The gods too are bound by the rules of this world, but for Mona, she seeks for the final truth of the world. As such, she does not have any admiration for her vision. Nonetheless, it is something that she treasures greatly. It was gifted to her by her teacher, as a teaching aid, and it is the only evidence of their time together, as master and student. She preserves these distant memories with great care. She wore it everywhere, until one day, a hydrovision of her very own, quietly appeared, in the old teaching aid. Sanganomiya Kokomi. She is the divine priestess, and supreme leader of Watatsumi Island. Their ancestors once lived in the bottom of the sea. It was only by the grace of the god, Orobashi, bringing them to the surface, that their civilization exists today. When the god was slain by the Electro-Archon, its desire to protect the people of the island never faded. This will lives on in the bloodline of the Sanganomiya clan, and follows them from generation to generation. The current heir to this bloodline is known as the Divine Priestess, and Kokomi has taken that title. Her ascension as the Divine Priestess brought surprise and intrigue among the people of her island, but her fair governance and military abilities quickly won them over. However, her real greatest aspiration is to just be a behind-the-scenes advisor, finding social interactions exhausting. As such, she set up an energy system of measurement for herself. When she does things she enjoys, her energy levels will increase, and the reverse is true when she does unenjoyable activities. When she runs out of this energy, she will put her duties aside and rest. Her unconventional approach to governance, marked by meticulous planning and strategic foresight, ensures the island's steady development. When the Vision Hunter Cree happened, the resentment of the people turned into cries of revolt, and so she led them in raising the banner of resistance. As the Divine Priestess, she naturally has her own hydrovision. Ever since the day she looked out at the sea outside the shrine, her wish has never once changed, to protect all of her people, and allow them to have happy lives. Nilou. She is the star of the Zubair Theater, known for her exceptional dancing skills, and her gentle and patient demeanor. Off stage, she's extremely polite, and enjoys making others happy. Unlike many dancers from artistic families, she grew up in an ordinary, but loving household in Sumeru, where she was never pressured to pursue scholarly pursuits, like others in the city. Her passion for dance was ignited at the Sub-Zero's festival, when she was just 8, where she met her teacher, who inspired her with a mesmerizing performance. Despite her upbringing in a city renowned for its wisdom, she has never shown any talent in the field of knowledge. Instead, her skills lie in her ability to connect emotionally with others in her own way. After learning to dance with her teacher, she became deeply aware of the power of body language. Combining her talents and knowledge, she created her very own form of body movement therapy. She also hates mushrooms, after eating one that is poisonous. Nilou has heard her teacher mention about the meaning of dance more than once. However, she was well aware that she was nowhere near as good at thinking about the meaning behind things, like academia researchers. But still, she practiced diligently each day, under the direction of her teacher. When she finally first took the stage, she quickly became completely immersed in the performance, holding nothing back. After the curtain fell, she took a break backstage, and then a hydrovision appeared at her waist. She thought then that she had perhaps found the purpose of dance, to become beauty, and then to convey the beauty and value of art. Yelan. She is a special intelligence officer, who reports directly to Ningguang. Despite her title, she views herself as a partner, rather than a subordinate, driven by a personal agreement to exchange danger and achievement for her services. Her operations span across the nations of Tevat, and even the perilous abyss, extracting intelligence with slyness and psychological tactics. She is often identified as mysterious, claiming to work for the Ministry of Civil Affairs, when she's frequently absent from work most of the year. In the presence of others, she is said to be very pleasant and polite. But when alone, she shows a far different side of her, as an extremely reliable, powerful, and intelligent woman. Her family's history dates far back into an ancient age, and her ancestors once fought in the chasm, against a great cataclysm. This legacy fuels her desire for danger, adventure, and exploration, driven by a mysterious calling that she feels in her blood. Because of this, she spends much of her time patrolling and roaming the area. Her career is marked by a blend of successes and failures. Notably, in one mission against the Regrader, she lost her family heirloom, the fascinating bracelet, yet she also stole a valuable robe, which she added to her outfit. Yelan was once part of a team, but they faced challenges that her clever tactics couldn't overcome, leading to the loss of her comrades. After a mission in the abyss left her alone, she secluded herself in the mountains. Ningguang then personally visited, offering for her to quit. However, Yelan was actually driven by a renewed purpose during her solitude, training until her fingers bled. She showed her skills, and a hydro-vision even appeared in the sky for her to take. According to Ningguang, the vision carries a message: from today onward, leave all matters to the extraordinary Yelan. Barbara. She is the deaconess of the Church of Favonius, and the shining idol of Mondstadt. She also possesses miraculous healing powers through her hydro-vision. Initially, her song sounded strange to the citizens, and many struggled to see the appeal. This was because, for the longest time, the folk songs of bards were the only popular songs known in the nation. Luckily, the city stayed true to embracing freedom, and allowed her positive energy to win them over, making her songs now celebrated across the nation. Even after being a successful figure, she always feels doubt. She feels inferior to her big sister Jean, thinking everything she's done is minor, compared to the acting Grand Master, and strives to do something that surpasses her, at least once. Though sometimes depressed, she always cheers herself back up, not letting herself be down for more than 30 seconds. She first heard the term idol from Alice, and agreed to be one, realizing that an idol's role is to bring joy and spiritual healing through song and dance. Driven by a subtle ambition to redefine what it means to be an idol, her desire for fame evolved into a genuine mission to help others in need. When Barbara was new to the church, she faced a situation where a boy with a fever couldn't stop crying. Despite never having sung before, she sang a lullaby until he fell asleep, and miraculously, his fever broke by morning. A hydrovision had also mysteriously appeared next to her hand, likely due to her wish of healing the sick through the power of song. Candace. She serves as the guardian of our village, protecting the inhabitants from the dangers of the Great Red Sand, such as bandits and natural dangers. She treats all visitors of the village with utmost respect, as long as they abide by their rules. However, should they endanger the villagers, she is shown to be extremely ruthless and terrifying. The mission of the village's guardian is to guard their settlement till the last of its people fade away. When Candace was officially appointed as the new guardian of our village, at the young age of 8, the one who handed the position over to her admonished her as such. The villagers believed that their guardians were true descendants of King Deshret. In truth, the guardians have never been blessed by the grace of God. It is a secret handed down from guardian to guardian, and only when a new guardian takes up their shield will they be told the truth. Although other guardians quit after learning the truth, Candace didn't back down. She practices diligently, day after day, and through this, has forged both an extraordinary will and amazing martial skills. Outsiders were causing chaos in the village, and residents also began yearning for life beyond their isolated homes. Young people sought opportunities outside, leaving the village with fewer defenders. Former guardians criticized Candace for her changes, leading to a heated confrontation, where she boldly asserts her plan for the village's future. She didn't want her people to be bound by the past forever, and if the other guardians won't help them, it's up to her to protect their future. As if in response to her convictions, a shining hydrovision had appeared. The eyes of the gods had found her, and they had given her their approval. Xingqiu. He is the second son of the Feiyun Commerce Guild, with a reputation for being studious and polite, ever since he was a young child. However, he also has a more mischievous side to him. Unlike his older sibling, who is completely devoted to the guild's success, he is more reluctant to do so, putting him at odds with his family. He is an avid reader, and spends most of his time looking for rare books at the bookhouse. When he is not preoccupied with his responsibilities, He also writes books from time to time, with The Legend of Sword being one of his famous creations. While it did not garner the popularity he wished for in Liyue, he is unexpectedly popular in Inazuma and Fontaine, after an Inazuman merchant took the book back home with them. Being the second son of a famous guild, he is extremely wealthy, and possesses a significant amount of influence, although he only resorts to using the guild as backup, if the situation cannot be handled otherwise. Wishing to become a real-life embodiment of the heroes he reads in stories, he has a strong sense of justice and chivalry. He also was able to revitalize the Guhua clan, a dying martial art, despite being one of its younger members. Fun fact, this is also where he learned how to breathe fire. It is unclear how exactly he got his vision, but it stems from an epiphany he had about how the art of using a polearm and sword to fight was like the art of the eye, which is that the weapon you use is an extension of yourself, just like the eye is an extension of the body. Tartaglia, number 11 of the Harbingers, also known as Child. His name is highly feared on the battlefield, living for the thrill of a fight and causing chaos. As a child, Ajax, his real name, was frightened and hesitant, but he secretly desired to become an adventurer, like the ones his father told him about. After falling into the abyss, and meeting and training with Skirk, his personality drastically changed. Although he appears to be friendly on the surface, Ajax became a bloodthirsty warrior. The abyss and his old master made him self-confident, self-centered, and brash, thriving on the sensation of being alive. A warrior at heart, he constantly seeks ways to grow stronger, regardless of how he obtains said power. He started to lust for combat, and grows excited by fighting strong opponents, even if it could mean dying in the process. He was no longer frightened and hesitant, but had become senseless and confident. He acted as if his world revolved around him, and as if battle existed for his sake. In the eyes of his father, his third son had changed for the worse, constantly bringing destruction to their village. Ultimately, his father had no choice but to hand his son over to be enlisted into the Fatui organization. He hoped that the strict military training could fix his son's temper, but he just ended up watching fully armed troops getting beaten by a mere child. This was a great disappointment to his father, but it also caught the attention of the Rooster, the fifth Harbinger. Shocked by his great strength, he recruited Ajax into the Fatui Institute, pretending it was for punishment, and ordering him to start from the bottom. This kept him satisfied, because he could keep fighting, and his ego grew as he defeated stronger enemies, until eventually, Ajax was chosen to be one of the Fatui Harbingers, taking the name of Child, Tartaglia. It was his reward for slaying many terrible beasts, and a symbol of his countless battles. Thus, did Child, having received his delusion, swear an oath of loyalty to the Archon of Snezhnaya. Thank you all so much for watching. Give a like if you ended up enjoying this video, and subscribe to be notified of my future videos. Bye.